This episode of Film Stuffs is sponsored by one single gray hair hanging off my chin and the dust floating about the room. It's called Atmosphere.
Greetings all ye shrews and froos and stablesmen. I'm Jake S. Weissman here with a little bit of news for you. Today we're going to be spending a lot of time talking about WB. I'm more than happy to do that. Before any of you ask, no, I will not be talking about Fantastic Beasts 3, except for everyone was so upset when Johnny Depp got kicked out, and then the second they replaced him with Hannibal, the world collectively went. And no, I will not be talking about Ezra Miller or Amber Heard.
Unless they fight each other.
Let's get some news out of the way. New York theaters and California movie theaters are closing again. After a big old fight with governors, the governors acquiesced, finally said, fine, open your theaters, you just can't do it in the major cities. And then 3 days after that happened, New York realized that 45% of their income was from New York City. And after a couple of months, they had to stay open to save face. But no content means no money, means we're not staying open. So we're closing again.
Success!
Chicago, and most of the world, I believe, but I just know mostly about Chicago, is moving into its second phase, third phase, 2.1, I saw it written as somewhere. Whatever is going on where the mayor of Chicago is saying, you know, if you're going to have Thanksgiving, don't have more than 10 people there. This isn't a good trajectory for the rest of the year. Not only has the schedule been completely wiped clean until Christmas, with only Warner Brothers holding out, thinking we may still have a Christmas. And if we do have a Christmas, we will have a monopoly on every single theater. Everyone who comes out to see Wonder Woman. Christmas is notoriously crazy busy. Wasn't when I was a little kid. Then Titanic happened. I haven't been doing a good job keeping up with the news as far as the cough is going. But as cases are rising, it seems like everything is going to be shutting down even more so. And instead of things ramping up, things will be closing down a little bit. So all of those indie theaters that have started selling theater venue space for those private rentals, how many of those are 30 people? How many of them are like a handful of friends that said, you know, it's $300, but if there's 30 of us, everyone just chips in 10 and we're good to go. But now you can't have a gathering of more than 10. I don't know what that means for eating. I don't know what that means for masks. I don't know what this all means. That's why it's not very surprising to see this headline. Warner Brothers is weighing whether to keep a theatrical release for Wonder Woman or to have it on HBOMAX. Personally, I think this is a done deal. I think it's only a matter of time before they decide to drop this on HBOMAX for Christmas. I don't know what else they have gearing up for their Christmas release. I'm still holding out for James Bond. I don't know where that's going to end up, but I have a feeling it's going to be coming out sooner than later. I'm still holding on to that. Once they decide to drop Wonder Woman on a streamer, I feel like the dominoes are going to start falling, and soon enough, Disney will think to drop Black Widow on Disney Plus. Disney Plus. Disney Plus. It's already looking that way. Disney pulled everything for 2020. Universal pulled everything for 2020. Whether Warner Brothers likes it or not, they've really been forced to stay in the captain's seat for this year. They kept thinking that they were going to escape it, and everything else just seems to have an exit ramp or an emergency plan, at least for the year, where Warner Brothers just keeps at it. They must have so much invested right now simply in the theatrical. But they have HBO Max. That's Warner. So at some point, synergy is going to have to synergize.
That's business speak.
I learned that at art school.
So we'll see. We'll probably know within the next week or so. They're weighing the numbers right now, and I don't know what surprises they have in store, but Wonder Woman is a great Christmas release. Again, Disney Plus is doing Soul. Amazon Prime geared up with Coming to America. We're all figuring this out. Netflix has Mank, But something else is going to come out because Mank is not going to appeal to everybody. It's not just about Kurt Russell as Santa Claus. Is it just about Kurt Russell as Santa Claus? I wouldn't know. You tell me, comment below. Is it just about Kurt Russell as Santa Claus? And lastly, are theaters safe to go to? No, they're not. Still, they're not. I'm so pleased because I got a telegram this morning from somebody asking about the new Witches movie, which is a Warner's film and was dropped on HBOMAX. So it all comes together, doesn't it? This is a telegram from Heather. Wait a minute. This is Heather Stroshine from Zombie Banana Spiders, one of the better video podcasts about horror out there. I'll link them below. Dear Jelly Roll, stop. I want to know about new Witches movie. Stop. What is the deal? Stop. From Heather. Full stop. Thanks for your question, Heather. I appreciate you asking about this because I've been wanting to dig into the Witches because they've been playing it very differently in the United States as they have been worldwide. And I'm not sure how many people are actually really aware of that. And what a big deal it may or may not be. It's something that we were only talking about hypothetically as far as a theatrical release for Tenet a few months ago. What happened with The Witches is it was released theatrically all over the world, like it was any other movie. And it was released in the United States on HBO Max. And it's streaming exclusive to HBO Max. I think it's cool, but I also think it's a bigger deal than no one's talking about it. If they are talking about it, well, they're not telling my cat. It did make me wonder. The film has huge talent behind it. Huge talent behind it. I don't know what the budget is yet, but the effects are huge. The talent is huge. There's no way this movie costs less than $50 million. It's co-written by Kenya Barris. It's directed by Robert Zemeckis. It has Anne Hathaway, Stanley Tucci, and Chris Rock, and Octavia Spencer.
Money, 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 money.
And I don't know how these effects are going to hold up in the future, but I'm to understand that they're pretty all right now. This movie was supposed to go to the theaters. The movie has obviously been in production since before the cough. I don't know what the plans were for this, but it seems like, well, let's just give this a shot, eh? Says Warner Brothers Pictures. Let's drop it in theaters all over the world and drop it on HBO and see how subscribership changes. See if this is worthwhile. And we'll do it real quiet so that there aren't real waves being made, just maybe a few ripples. I think it's a step in a very interesting, cool direction. I like that we're able to watch The Witches. The question now is, will they maintain a window? Or will they keep these movies absolutely exclusive to HBO Max? Will The Witches only be exclusive to the streaming service for the normal 3 to 5 months and then be available on other platforms so that Warner gets that cut? Wouldn't be surprised if that's what ended up happening. It's kind of what they ended up doing for Tenet, right? We're sitting here talking like Tenet is some sort of success story when the fact is it's being released on home video on Christmas. So if it was dropped when it was supposed to be dropped, at the end of June, at the beginning of July, whenever the first couple of release dates were, then this would be a normal window. A window to maintain status quo. But they dropped the movie in September, and now the movie is going to be on home release in December. That window just got cut in half. Is it a success? It's certainly a step in a direction. They got to make that money back. And they're not going to miss Christmas. That's where the money is. And people will pay $30 for Tenet Ultra High Def to watch on their 72-inch with surround sound. And they'll watch it with their families at home. No risk to anybody. I guess Tenet was a win. So we'll see in the coming months, years, if Tenet was a success, how people will look back at it. The fact is Christopher Nolan's going to keep making his movies, and he's going to be a star until he stops making movies. He's in that realm of now legendary directors. No matter how I or anyone else feels about these films, he is on a very specific, huge level, and he ain't stopping for nothing. So I hope nobody died because they contracted the cough at a movie theater watching Tenet. That is pretty much all I have to say about The Witches. We'll see how this release continues. We're right at the beginning of it. I don't know exactly what everything means yet. I'm just kind of reading tea leaves. If they do decide, and I'm almost positive they will, but if they do decide to drop Wonder Woman 84 on HBO Max, that will be their big Christmas streaming grab. Which means there's a bigger likelihood of The Witches showing up on Amazon Prime, iTunes, and other platforms like a normal release so that they can cast their net and make as much money as they possibly can with this film because they need to make their money back. Considering Warner Brothers has been in the captain's seat this entire year, there's been more controversy with them. They seem real messy right now. And I don't know what all that means. I think they have some new leadership coming in because they're mired in lawsuits. Justice League and Joss Whedon, these terrible stories that I'm not going to get into. For whatever reason, the people that they cast are having some problems. Through no fault of Warner Brothers, it's a luck of the draw kind of a thing, but it's just too bad that it's a handful of problematic people. And ultimately, their goal is to drive up that subscribership. So if it's steadily growing and doesn't seem to be stopping, then The Witches is going to stay on exclusively on HBO Max. I feel like if it's going to plateau, then you'll start seeing it on other platforms. That being said, I've been trying to watch American Pickle, and I don't have HBO Max yet. They might be hoarding as much content as possible to make their streaming app the most appealing as possible. Thank you so much for your question, Heather, and everybody, please check out Zombie Banana Spiders. Bones is on that shit too. Another telegraph just came in. Jelly Roll, stop. How are budgets for films chosen? Stop. Dave. Thanks for the question, Dave. So I'm going to start this off by saying I've never been in the room when a budget was made that way, only for independent productions. There is a different way budgets go for studio films versus independent productions. The things I can share about the studio stuff are from
Surmising.
And putting pieces together.
As far as I can tell, this is how it's done. And, I'm not going to go into like a crazy thing here, but I'll do kind of broad strokes, right? So we'll start with indie because it's really simple. With independent film, you raise as much money as you can. If you're the one raising the money, then if you can get $1 million, get $1 million. If you can get 10,000, get 10,000. I think that's why some of these smaller films, you'll see like 12 logos in a row of these production companies that you've never heard of, because the producers gathered all of these other people and everyone helped raise the money. So everyone is a producer, everyone can have a logo, and your movie starts. This is the way it's done in America. I know that overseas there's something called the lottery. A lot of European countries have the lottery where the government literally gives you money to help make your movie. A lot of countries in Europe have the film lottery. I think that's awesome. We don't play that game over here. So, as far as indie film is concerned, if you can raise the cash, raise it. If I know that there's something special that I'm missing because I'm trying to make independent films and I haven't gotten there yet. I have some ideas in my head, but I'm not quite there yet. So let me know if you're an independent producer and I'm getting this way off. I would love to have a conversation with you. As far as the studios go, it's really important to remember, and I always feel like I'm telling people that there's no Santa Claus or kind of killing the romance of it, but I am a very romantic film lover, I promise. But it's called the film industry. You'll hear me say this so much, you're going to get so sick of it. It's called the film industry. It is an industry. It is there to make money. The films, the art, are a byproduct of that industry. The film industry was born in money, and continues to thrive in money. The beautiful thing about this, and one of the reasons why I love cinema and keep coming back and will not let go, is that it is in the best interest of the film industry to have a good movie. I saw that with my own eyes working at a movie theater. If your movie's good, people will come, it will make the money. It's amazing. If a movie's bad and it's advertised well, people will come. But if your movie is advertised well and it's good, it's how you get $1 billion with a B profits. Because those Marvel movies are good. They're worth coming to. So it's a beautiful thing. It's almost like the film is the boat and the cash is the water. So as far as budget goes, you're going to treat each film accordingly, as though each individual film is a product. If you put this much money in, how much will you get out? One of the reasons why Hollywood keeps making horror movies is because there's always a smaller investment and a great, great return. They'll drive those movies into the ground. And then when they stop making money theatrically, they'll keep them alive on VOD, and they'll keep making real money. That's not just horror, that's many franchises and how a lot of things go. B, there used to be low-budget films, mid-budget films, and huge-budget films. There's a long history to it. Someday I'll talk about New Hollywood. Bonnie and Clyde on through to Star Wars. It's my favorite time in American film.
It's not a hot take.
But it was also a time where the people who created the studios and made their money from the birth of the studios, by the time it got to the late 60s, there was a whole audience of people watching films that the studio heads didn't understand. So it was worth to put down
$400,000
and make Easy Rider if you're gonna get $60 million back from a market that you otherwise don't really understand and haven't been able to crack. As we were growing up, there were like low budget films, mid budget films. You get your like $10 million film, your $30 million film, your $60 million film, and then your 100. And since I was in college and subsequently left college, it's been a little over 10 years, you just see the gap grow. And so there aren't really as many $50 million movies anymore. You get a $50 million movie when you have just the right combination of names attached to your film. Just the right director, writer, actor. You have your horror and comedies down here at 30 and below. And then you have your enormous franchises at $150 to $200 million and above. What used to be lots of movies spread out over lots of weekends to accumulate because cable wasn't as good and people went to the movies, and Hollywood was producing different kinds of movies instead of really narrowing in and playing darts and really trying to make the very, very most for their investment. So as we move forward, your Seth Rogen comedies get 30 and below. Your Judd Apatow films, they're somewhere in the middle. Judd Apatow proved himself with enough low-budget films that now he gets a bigger budget. And then you got your Fast and the Furious, your Marvel films, your DC. We're just like, throw money at it, man. Just, what do you need? What do you need? Because I'll put down anything because I'm guaranteed to make 5 times much back. It's all about the investment. Again, if I'm really missing something, please let me know, respectfully, calmly. I know it's not popular. This isn't a popular opinion. But what else could it be? We don't have a ministry of film to ensure artistic integrity and the things that we put out as a country. Money talks, bullshit walks. But it's always a conversation I want to know because I don't know enough about it, and I certainly haven't cracked the key or figured out the secret because I'm still paying for my movies out of pocket. If you like my stuff and want to talk money,
I'll Zoom ya.
thank you so much, Heather and Dave, for your questions. Man, I love getting telegraphs. How cool is that? Feel free to ask me any questions you got on Facebook, on down below here, anything. I really want to know what you want to know. So please, don't hold back. The song of the episode, let me tell you something. When I woke up this morning, it was Wandering Star or by Portishead or Mysterion, something very trip-hoppy. I watched The Insider by Michael Mann the other night, and I just got into kind of a feeling. And then as I was taking a shower for this video, I couldn't stop singing, "It keeps on running, it keeps you running, it keeps you running." Somewhere between early Portishead and Michael McDonald era Doobie Brothers. The book of the episode is your notebook. When was the last time you had a notebook? When was the last time you wrote in your notebook? I write in my notebook all the time. I don't journal as much, but every script idea, all these things that I talk to you about, they're in my notebooks. And I know what you're thinking to yourself. You're thinking to yourself, "Jake, what a cop-out. That's not a real book. You can't do that. You just don't read enough books."
You have tons of books on shelves and stacks of them, and you spend money on them, and you love collecting them, but you don't read them because it takes you too long to read. I know that's what you're thinking.
Well, look who's smarty pants.
Aren't you so right? Write in your notebook. Leave me alone. The movie of the episode is Unstoppable. Unstoppable is great because it's about a train that can't be stopped. And there's explosives on the train, and Denzel Washington, who's a veteran of the train company, and noob Chris Pine have to figure out how to stop this train. But the train's unstoppable. And also the film is called Unstoppable. A very special shout out to Ms. Bones. I love your art. I love you. Happy birthday. Thank you so much for listening to me talk about this. I could not do this show without you. Don't forget to join me on Twitch, watch my feature films on Amazon Prime, watch my videos here on YouTube, and I will see you
In the future.
It's like Willie for you, always with the smooth tongue.
Sweet lion, you are my sweet lion. You are a beautiful lion. You are a sweet and yummy boy. You're a sweet and yummy boy. You're delicious, nutritious. You are a lion, hear you implore.